Well, welcome back.
Thank you.
Hope you guys got more sleep, as much sleep as we did. Okay, questions, please.
What's the plan from you had a game last night and now you got something going tomorrow?
This is a quick turnaround for us. As we talked in the days leading up to the Hall of Fame game, our work tomorrow factored into playtime. So we're kind of looking at the Rams practice and the Hall of Fame game as one, because we're going to get close to 60 plays of teamwork, offense and defense versus the Rams. So probably 65 to 70% of the work will be with our ones in the practice tomorrow. So that's the focus, and we're looking for quality work. Had a chance to talk with Sean a number of times throughout the last couple of weeks. So we're both excited about this opportunity.
How do you feel like I get that was part of the plan, but just rotating those snaps, how do you feel you came out of it? Feel satisfied at what your young guys did?
Definitely, I feel satisfied with the number of reps that the young players were able to get, and not only just the offense and defense, but for the special teams, because those guys got a lot of work, and that's the primary focus for the preseason from my viewpoint, because it's about development of your roster, and we're going to have some tough decisions, and this will be more suited tomorrow towards both the one group on both sides, both the Rams and the Cowboys. So, but our young players definitely benefited from the snaps last night.
Did you get out of the game pretty healthy? It didn't seem like there was a lot of injuries, but anything pop up today?
Yes, we got a couple things that are going on right now. I don't really have any information for you, but it's part of it. We didn't, so far, nothing big. So, but based on who practices tomorrow, it'll be a combination of how many plays that they played last night, and we had a couple guys that, you're always looking at things after the game.
There was a veteran that played yesterday. Yeah. Do you want to scale him back tomorrow or give him the day off?
No, he'll play. He'll definitely play. The guys that that we had a group of players that just played the first series, so they'll be part of the group that practices the primary snaps tomorrow. Is the way that was set up.
How competitive do you think it will be with it being ones versus ones?
Well, competitive. It's going to be competitive, but it's still in the framework of a practice. There's a reason why you do these group practices. Both teams are looking for the exact same, goal as far as the execution. It's not. You want a professional, full speed thud environment. These practices give you an opportunity to get a lot of quality work done and lower the risk that you obviously have to go through to play in preseason games.
Do you anticipate Tyron and Zach will be part of this tomorrow? Or?
They'll be part of the practice tomorrow.
You wait for Dak to be in the same mode he's been in tomorrow?
Dak will be in the same mode that he's been in up till this point. Yes.
Still the idea that he might throw on Tuesday when you guys get back to practice?
Don't have a great day. I know the treatment and the things that he was able to stay after, by not going to Canton. Things are progressing really well, and in particular to Dak's injury. This is more about us, as a staff, training staff, coaching staff. So we just don't want this to turn into something big.
Looking at the tape and obviously talking to your coaches, where are you with your backup quarterbacks after?
Well, I thought Garrett and Cooper both did some good things. You look at the first half, and frankly, the offensive evaluation was more about tail two halves, which, frankly, from my experience, is fairly normal. I thought the first half, the offense had, all their drives were 8+ plays, and all their series were 8+ plays. That's definitely a goal you try to hit. Anything north of 7 is considered a positive series as far as production, movement, and so forth. So I like that. I like the operation of the first half. I thought both Garrett and Cooper established that. But there's some situational things we need to do better, and we need to take care of the football, some decisions with the football. So those are all things we can learn from.
CeeDee Lamb will get a chance to go against Jalen Ramsey tomorrow as a coaching staff. Is that a matchup you're looking forward to, and you feel like that'd be good for him?
I think all the matchups. They're a fine football team. They're a playoff caliber football team. Last couple of years played in the Super Bowl, so this will be great work for all of our vets.
We you look at Ben DiNucci when he's been out here. Look like when he's been out here, he's not maybe been as sidearm as he was last night. What do you think was that a product of just kind of reverting back to his old ways, or not having lanes to throw?
Well, I think it's a combination of both. I mean, he was under duress, particularly there in the second half, but I think it's probably a picture of what a number of young players go through. That's really his first live action, in this year. Obviously got to play in Philadelphia last year, but I think if you go across the board, offense and defense, you see young players go back to old habits. They get into the heat of the battle, and that's just a product of being on a new team, product of being asked to do things differently, and that's why you practice, that's why you work, and it's just kind of the state of where your young players are, and that's a great example of it.
In your experience, can a joint practice, given the controlled setting, be more productive than a preseason game?
I mean, define productive. It's quality work. I think anytime you can have quality work versus an opponent, I think you should try to take advantage of it. I think this is, it gives you a chance to lower the risk of injury. I think that's stating the obvious. But yeah, this will be great work, and I'm looking at this being an extremely productive 3 days for our football team, and we'll be better for it.
Do you anticipate Malik Hooker doing anything practice-wise?
We're going to advance him. The exact, exact how much that hasn't been set yet. We have a staff meeting tomorrow. Once we get all the medical in, we'll make those decisions.
You only got one kicker, obviously, but after last night, is there any thought of, hey, after the scrimmage, maybe we need to kick a little bit more in practice?
Well, I mean, it's the kicking in practice. That's something that's scheduled out. Those guys, just like any battery in the NFL, those guys spend a tremendous amount of time working amongst themselves. So, as far as the protection units, both the punt protection and the PAT protection group, we have been working that. So we definitely, that hasn't been abnormal. We're just being real smart with how much we do the kicking, particularly because of Greg's situation.
Manage a game in the preseason, do you like to manage it exactly like you would in the regular season?
No.
Or
4th and 15? Are you kidding me? I mean, what the hell's going on, McCarthy? I get it. No, but I mean, what happens to me during the game is, and I've started this years ago, is you can't create those situations in practice. And the reality of it is, there's going to be a game this year where we're going to have to go make a 4th and plus potential plays. So we spend a tremendous amount of time with our football team this year creating situations, more than I ever have, and I just felt that it was a primary focus. We needed it based on my experience last year. So, 4th and 15 was a great opportunity, and we converted it, but then obviously we had to fumble on the back end. So it's really trying to take advantage of those situations, and unfortunately, if you look at the three biggest drives for Pittsburgh in the game, the two more off the turnovers and one was on the 4th down. So, it's you're creating adversity situations for your defense. To me, these are great situations to create in live games. Preseason records are, I never put a whole lot of stock into them. It was really the thing we keep track of is how many of the special situations that we're able to create in those games, or they are created. And, we have a menu of game situations, no different than the offensive coordinator has menus of his play action pass, and the defensive coordinator has the menus of his, third down pressures and all that. So that's all part of coaching and trying to make sure you're just exposing your players to as many of those situations as possible, because adversity defense is a very important, competitive grounds that you have to be successful in, and that's, to me, that's all part of it.
Parsons last night, how did Joseph look to you after that first game?
I thought he did a lot of good things. Played a lot of football. Probably played a little more than we initially anticipated, but did a lot of good things. The biggest thing is not as much. The first part is they know what to do, and our defense has done an excellent job of particularly the assignment, being assignment sound throughout camp. Extremely impressed with our defensive group, what they've been able to do. But now it's the application of that. The application of being, doing the things the right doing the right things, but then doing it the right way, but doing it cohesively and playing to our play style. Because really the only goal I had for the football team yesterday was to establish our identity and our play style. And we did that in segments of the game. We're clearly not where we want to be. You know, our finish, particularly on the ball at times, Pittsburgh was better than we are. So, you know, that'll be a big emphasis moving forward. You see the way we practice with the late whistle and the finish to the ball and the offense covering the football. So that's something we need to do better. That was one of the primary focuses for the football team coming out of last year. So we still need to be better there. So that's really what I'm looking for. It's that we're playing the right way, and when everybody's doing that, your chances for success definitely increase.
Deep ball to Claypool on right. Is he trying to get the OPI in that situation? That's why he puts his hands up. What are you trying to? What's the
No,
coaching
I
right
just
there?
think it's a young player, so he's done it in practice a few times. So that's clearly a habit that we need to break.
What do you just play through it? Kind of.
Totally, you keep playing. You always play. Innocent until proven guilty. Right? This is America.
When you go in team sessions tomorrow, will you put the runners on the ground, or are you touching up?
No, it's a thud. It's a professional thud. You know, we won't take the unnecessary shot from the side. You know, we're trying to take out you won't see obviously any cut blocking, things like it. It'll be the same practice format that we practice in.
Any more team sessions than you normally do?
We'll hit pretty much every situation. Yeah, we'll go right through the script. We'll start with special teams, and then we'll have a 7-on-7 red zone, one-on-one D-line rush. I know you guys love that drill, so you'll be fired up for that. But then that'll go co-sign with the 7-on-7 red zone. Then we'll do a team backed up drill, and then we'll do a team red zone, team third down. So then we'll have a full move the ball segment. You just call it and move the field, put the ball down and play, and then we'll finish with a 2 minutes. So we'll pretty much try to hit every situation.
Scripting and doing these joint practices, how important is the relationship with the other head coach, just to make sure you're both getting what you want out of it? And
well, it's very important. I think you have to be on the same page. I mean, we have no interest in fights. I mean, it's a waste of everybody's time. You know, those days to me are over. That's not what I'm looking for. So, you know, it definitely all it does is penalize your team if it happens in a game. So why the hell would you do it in practice? So I think Sean feels the same way. We just want the quality work. It's a safer environment to practice this way. You know, you got relationships with the coordinators. So there's a lot of communication that goes on between the staffs, and you know, I'm looking forward to an excellent practice.
Mike was brought up earlier. I'm sure you were impressed from the sideline on what he did last night, but having watched the film now, how have your impressions developed, just getting a better look at it?
Extremely active. You know, the game comes natural to him. You know, playing both the outside linebacker position inside. So I thought he did a lot of good things. So the reason I was running a little late was in there with Dan and AD, and just we're looking at a particular pressure. You know, the fit of the inside linebacker in the three technique rush. So and it'll always be this way. Just little things. You know, the angle of the rush and the angle of the pressure, you know, coincide with the nose guard and things like that. So that's always the football component of it, the technique, and that's when I go back to the answer earlier. It's about play style. It's about playing, you know, the way that we want to play in the specifics of it, because it's all tied together. So as we continue to go, we just need time together. You know, I thought the defense did a lot of good things. I thought the offense, but we need this training camp. We need all these practices, and but this is a stress point for us in camp because of the amount of work that we're going to have in a short period of time. So, but to this point, if we can stay on course here, I'll feel really good when training camp is over.
The way Micah has looked, he seems like a hard guy to maybe keep off the field. But how do you guys have a sense yet? What kind of, from a snap count, regular season standpoint, if he's a 60, or he's a 50, a 40 reps per game type of guy?
Well, I think it's based on what he has to do. I mean, it's just like, you know, as you go through different positions, you know, certain positions are able to play, you know, at 90 to 100%, you know, based on what he's being asked to do, you know, as far as, you know, how much is he rushing, you know, how much is in coverage. I mean, all that's factored, because at the end of the day, we play 17 games this year. That's part of it. But not only do we want to win as many games as possible in regular season, but we want to make sure we're playing our best football in December and January because it gives us the best chance to go where we want to go. And by doing that, it's to utilize, the full 53-man roster and then make sure you're developing the practice squad and all those things. So, I mean, that's the way I've always done it. That's the way we're going to do it here. Is we want to be like this when it comes through the season, and by doing the things you need to do, particularly playing your 46-man roster. Some people do it the other way. I mean, I'm not interested in just lining up playing with 11 every week. It's easier for the coach, but it's not the best thing in the long-term, season run for your football team.
You activated DeMarcus Lawrence off a pup.
Yeah.
What do you anticipate his ramp-up part to be?
Slower. Just the biggest thing. I mean, he's in great shape. He's done everything we asked, but same deal. DeMarcus has done a lot of great things here, and we just want to make sure we're giving him on the right path. And it's a new defense, so it's just to get him in there and get the little things repped, the details of it. So it was great having him out there. So it's good to get him back.
You have Diggs tomorrow.
Correct. Yes.
So he will be in
He will be there.
Does some of that, not having him, kind of gave Joseph a little bit more snaps, a little bit of that?
Absolutely. I mean, not to be redundant, it's really the combination of the Rams and the Steelers. So we looked at the two opportunities as one, and how we can rep our guys because of the quick turnaround. And frankly, because of the travel. I mean, you guys went through it. I mean, the travel back here was tough. So we just got to be smart with our guys.
A lot about players and building the camaraderie. All you guys are out here in camp and things. How do you do that with the coaching staff? Are there things that you got to do just as a staff to get those guys, especially when you have new guys involved?
Definitely haven't done much of it, and just more because of the times last year. We had a chance to go to dinner last week, so that was fun. It was good to just go out and laugh, laugh for a couple hours. So, but yeah, it's definitely something you'd like to do more of. But the same part of it too is we've got a lot of guys with young families, and you're cognizant of that. This has been a different year for a lot of us, the transition through the pandemic and so forth. But the other part of it too is we spend a lot of time together, so we do laugh once in a while. So we're able to through our times and in the long meetings and so forth, you definitely are able to build those bonds.
Maury said last week that, I guess it was earlier this week, that he's not at 100% yet. He's not really running full-fledged routes yet. His surgery was 5 months ago, 5 weeks now to go. How soon do you expect him to be ready to practice? And
I don't have an exact timeline on when he's getting back, but I'll just say this: he, compared to where he was last year and where he's at this year, I think he looks great. I mean, he really does. I'm not particularly rehearsed on what his weight was in his prior seasons, but based off where he was last year and where he is this year, I think we're all looking for him to have a big year. So he looks great. Obviously, he's played a lot of football, and in a short time he's been in the league. So those are all things that are taken into account, particularly when you're bringing someone off a PUP.
After watching the tape, aside from Parsons on defense, did anybody else kind of jump off to you?
Yeah, I mean, really the first group, a lot of good things. That I think like all of us, you want to see your young players, what they're going to do, particularly, and I think the young defensive lineman definitely jumped out. That was definitely evident in the second half. So I was very pleased with the way those guys played.
Steele's been playing a little bit on the left recently. Can you just kind of detail that conversation of deciding he can handle that or that he's ready to try?
Well, I mean, it's just about the experience of playing both sides. I mean, I think as you look at the offensive line group, the more you can do, obviously, gives you the best opportunity to be up on Sundays. So you think about his path so far in the NFL, being thrown into the starting position last year, and the progress that he made. He was one of the strength and conditioning award winners for his off-season work. So he's done a tremendous job, and we're just trying to give him the opportunity to create as much flexibility as possible with his game.
Watching the tape, how do you think Connor did as a setup? Like he had one or two, might have been a little bit high, but how did you think he did?
Yeah, he needs work. I mean, he needs to play center in live games. It's just like anything. There's no replacement for that. I think he's continued to get better, more effective with the cadence and the snap. The mental part of it is not a concern. He definitely has that down. So he just needs reps in there.
Anything stand out on that run where you guys were backed up in your end zone last night, just from an execution standpoint?
I mean, it was well blocked, and I thought Rico did a great job setting it and hitting the hole. So I mean, I thought Rico had a really nice night. I mean, you think about players taking a second-year jump. That's what you're looking for. I mean, you think about where he was last year, and for him to come out in the first preseason game, he had a big-time catch on the one drive route. So I mean, he did some really good things. Pass protection, ran the ball hard. So I thought he had a nice night.
From the operation efforts in Green Bay, historic and titles and Hall of Famers since that, and this weekend there's 3 Cowboys going in. Do you make reference of that to your team and what those guys did here, Jimmy and Drew and Cliff and those guys?
Absolutely. We actually spent some time in a team meeting, talked about really the uniqueness of the weekend that's upon us, and the fact that we were kicking it off with the Thursday night game, and the fact that really had 3 classes going this weekend, so I was able to really took the team through all the members of the 3 classes, and because frankly I think it's like anything, that you have your pregame, but you have your pre-game, and I just want our players to be in tune, in case they had the opportunity to have some interaction with one of the Hall of Famers, to try to take advantage of that moment and just make sure you recognize not only what the Hall of Fame stands for, but just what those men have accomplished.
Mike, speaking of your young tackles, do you have a timeline for Josh Ball, where he's at, foot or ankle?
I do not. It's multiple weeks. I do know that. So I don't know if it's going to be Houston or somewhere in there, but it's multiple weeks.
It's a specific injury on him.
He has an ankle injury. Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Mike. Thank you.